What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tending the Flag, coming to you live to tape from the internet, as they used to say back in the old wrestling days. Of course, my name is PJ Kanojan, and I'm coming to you here from the lovely city of Williamsburg, Virginia, the future golf capital of the world, of course, if I have anything to do with it, with some of the content we're working on with Visit Williamsburg. But coming to you from the great state of Delaware, Kevin Leonowich. Kevin, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm trying to beat the heat right now. It is crazy out there.
Yeah, it is. It is disgusting. Like, I didn't want to go out the last 2 days at all. I just wanted to park my ass in the house and be in the air conditioning. And even then, like, the air conditioning wasn't enough. It's unseasonable.
Yeah, my car had a whopping 111 today when I was on my way home from work. So, yeah, it's toasty outside. But that just means the golf courses around here will start firming up for once.
Yeah, it'd be nice not to have cart path only around here.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, dude. But yesterday I went to I went to a table read for a show I'm doing, and I had to walk, and it can't be more than 100 yards from the parking lot to the building, and I was like just sweating buckets. It was 114 real fuel by the time I got out of the car yesterday. It was so bad.
Yeah. Summer.
But anyway, yeah. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the weather. No, we are here to talk about the mind-numbingly frustrating game of golf. So we're going to get started. And of course, we didn't have a recap episode on the U.S. Open like we usually do last week. And that would kind of be my fault. I'm recovering and still recovering from festival flu. I picked up some really nasty bug when I was at Warped Tour over the weekend. Had a great time. 10 out of 10, 100% would do it again. Already got my tickets for next year's Warped Tour. But, dude, I came down with some nasty bug, and it just put me on the shelf, and I was down for the count, man. It was bad.
Yeah, luckily I did not attend such thing, and I've been feeling okay, actually. I even got out, played some golf, and maybe hit a house. Arguably, maybe I didn't. But yeah, it was quite a weekend for me as well.
So that brings to mind a hot topic we've all seen on like Twitter, Reddit Golf, and all that stuff. If you hit a house, is that your fault or the homeowner's fault?
Man, I always assume that like if you did damage to it, that should be covered under homeowners insurance. I always thought that was the risk that you take getting these golf course properties. But I have seen this argument recently, and a lot of people are arguing the opposite way. That, you're the golfer, you're responsible for the damage you cause. Man, I have no clue. I have no clue where that falls. I would love to see some kind of housing agreement in some of these neighborhoods around here.
Yeah, it would have to fall under the homeowner's insurance because, I mean, you chose to live on the golf course. Nobody's forcing you to live there. And I think you kind of understand the risks that come with living on a golf course. People are going to shank balls. Not everybody is putting a ball down the middle every single time. It's a risk that you undertake on the golf course. And I'm sure the insurance premiums are raised for people on the course. So we all want to get our game under control, but accidents happen.
Look, and to be fair, I can't control where that thing goes. It's not my fault. It's
right.
The ball's fault.
Yeah, it's totally the ball if you're Bryson.
Oh, it's definitely the ball if you're Bryson. Way too much spin on it.
Yeah. Yeah, way too much spin. We got to look at some technology to bring that stuff down. No, but I saw a video the other day on, I think it was Twitter, where some lady like comes out of the house screaming at a guy, "You need to get some MF and golf lessons and learn how to play and stop hitting houses and blah, 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 blah." I'm just like, lady, you got to chill, man. You're living on a golf course. Yeah, it's an inconvenience. It sucks, but it has to be expected in a way because we have all done it at one time or another.
I've only had one like memorable engagement with a homeowner, and I didn't even hit a house. This was literally like 4 inches into the dude's yard, and they lived inside of the dog leg. So like it was dog leg right, and they were literally in the corner of the dog leg. And when I say it's no more than 5 yards off the fairway, like I missed the fairway by 5 yards, and this dude was sitting in a chair and just looked at me as like, "Don't you dare step foot on my yard." I was like, dude, it's 4 inches in. And I was
dude,
like, whatever.
Taking
man.
it too seriously.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
You got guys like that, and then you got there's a little old lady who lives on the Ford's Colony course that has a bucket out right by the course and say, take a ball.
Mm-hmm.
So you have people who are cool with it, and then some people are just jerks about it. But I like the one, and you've probably seen it out there, where the guy, it's a prank video, and whenever a guy's outside and he's like mowing his lawn or just out having a drink on the patio or whatever, and somebody hits a ball in there, he lays face down on the grass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Classic.
That's
move.
pretty funny. I like that.
Classic.
Yeah,
move.
yeah, good humor. But
there's a family off the 18th hole of Odessa National down here near me. And their kids have like a lemonade stand / lost ball for sale stand.
That's brilliant.
It's great.
That is brilliant.
Until you realize it's the 18th hole and you don't need them anymore.
Yeah,
anyway,
but whatever.
It's a good touch.
Support local business.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, moving back to the Open a little bit. Like I said, I was at Warped Tour, so I didn't get a chance to really watch any of it. Kev, what were your thoughts on it?
Man, I loved it. First off, congratulations on winning the bet. 1 under
Thank
par
you.
winning score. I know we were texting back and forth. I thought I was cooked on Saturday, and then Sunday rolled around, and I think you were probably sweating it for a while.
I was nervous. Yep.
But I mean, what a dramatic ending. Spawn had
60-foot putt, man.
I mean, yes, what a putt that was. I will say it's unfortunate that was to win by 2. Could you imagine if it was like that 60-footer was for the win? Like that would have been maybe the best putt of all times.
Yeah, the nerves for that one. But he just outplayed the course. Like he was consistent that whole time.
Yeah.
And he was really the only guy who was truly that consistent. And our usual suspects just kind of, they fell out. I mean, the cut line was +7. Bryson didn't even make it. Rory made it by the skin of his teeth. Scotty at least kind of showed up, but it was not a leaderboard I was expecting at all every day, let alone the final day. Because John Rahm's probably the biggest name, Scotty Scheffler, and that's T7. After that, it's just dudes. Victor Hovland, I mean, he's nothing to sneeze at, but you know what I mean.
No, I know exactly what you mean. And, like, even then, like, Scotty really didn't show up until the weekend. He really wasn't involved in the tournament until Sunday, it felt like. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know what it was with all these big names. I was expecting them to rise and eventually make a mark on it. But it was like just some kind of mental block by all these guys. Well, it's too hard. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, does that kind of get in their head where they hear the chatter about, oh, this is going to be such a tough course, it's a tough setup, and they feel like they have to show up and even try harder, where somebody like JJ Spawn is like, I got no chance to win this thing. I might as well just go out there and have some fun, and then turns around and wins it. Because out of all of the majors we see, the U.S. Open does have the most surprises.
Yeah, it's normally the hardest tournament, and, they call Oakmont. Every pro has said it's the hardest course they've ever played. It felt like it was like just a big equalizer to the field. We've talked many times about like Tiger proofing. Like Tiger's greatest advantage, not only was he, the best ball striker ever, but like he was so much longer than all the other pros. Like it wasn't fair. There was a lot to be made about Oakmont, like with a 300-yard par 3, and how long it was going to play. But when the course runs the way it did, length wasn't really an issue. It was all about accuracy. It was all about putting in the long run. It's the biggest part of a golf game if you want to be a winner.
Yeah, and JJ Spawn winds up moving up to 3rd in the Ryder Cup standing. So we got Scotty up top, who's, of course, already qualified. Xander, about 15,000. Can you believe that? 15,000 points behind Scotty in the Ryder Cup standings. And then just about 200 points behind Xander is JJ Spawn moving up. And after seeing some of the highlights of him playing Oakmont and seeing how he just handled that course in even some pretty adverse conditions and was able to keep his cool with it, I like him at Bethpage. I actually really, really like him at Bethpage, considering how hard that course is.
I mean, you got a lot of similarities with Bethpage. The rough can be crazy. The distance is very true on Bethpage, though. And you're missing the big greens. Like Oakmont has 40-yard wide greens on almost every hole. So you're kind of taking a little bit out of his hands. But I mean, he deserves it. He's been absolutely incredible this year. And just another great story that we've been talking about for a while. Guys that have been essentially nobodies. These absolutely, just golf grinders coming from, the Canadian Tour up through the Corn Ferry Tour, losing his tour card, regaining his tour card. Back in 2021, he would have lost it if it wasn't for COVID. He only had one win, and that was back in 2022. And he's just coming out with, a career year, for lack of a better term, because it is.
It's kind of the equivalent of, say Newcastle winning the Premiership one year.
Thanks for that.
Anytime, buddy.
Look.
Shouldn't say anything about Manchester United, but,
That's fine. Look, we won a trophy this year.
Yeah.
But, one of the biggest stages of the year, he finishes second place in a playoff at Sawgrass. This is his second win of the year, or is it? No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's first win.
Yeah, first win.
It's his second career win.
Yeah, sorry. And he has 2 runner-ups. That's what I was confusing.
Yeah.
He's had 2 runner-ups this year. He's got 1 win. He's got 5 top 10s. He's made 15 cuts out of 18 events played. He deserves to be there. He deserves to be, 8th world ranking. This is the whole point of having, qualifying spots for the Ryder Cup is you take the best players, and it's not just, bring your buds along and have fun. He has earned it. He deserved it.
Yeah, it's his consistency that's gotten him there with the way he's been playing. So yeah, I like it. I think he'll be in there. I mean, he's a couple hundred clear of the next couple guys on the list. So I think he's 100 clear of Russell Henley, 200 clear of Bryson. I got Bryson making it. 500 clear of Justin Thomas at 6. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I would like to see him playing at Bethpage the way he played it, and I think it'll be fun. But we'll do a whole Ryder Cup discussion in a couple weeks. As that starts heating up.
Yeah, and shout out real quick, just before we move on from Oakmont, or not just Oakmont, but the U.S. Open. Shout out for Father's Day. We're going to give JJ Spawn's dad with the most dad tweet I've ever seen, where he posted, My son JJ won the U.S. Open today with this amazing putt on the 7-second hole. So proud of you, son. And it's got a picture of his caddy and JJ, hugging on the green, but it's the most grainy 1990s cell phone picture I've ever seen.
Took it to the TV.
It's just classic dad mode right here from JJ Spawn's dad. Credit to him. That's awesome. If I ever won a golf tournament, I would love for my dad just to post on Facebook. It's hey, check it out. My kid won a golf tournament. Good job, son. And that's it. I can picture no phone calls, no nothing. I just get a Facebook post and then a handshake maybe, a month later.
Dude, I'll tell you what, the kid of yours keeps his swing up. I mean, you're going to be tweeting that one day.
I would hope so.
He's doing all right. But yeah, I just picture him how older guys hold their phone way out at arm's length to be able to type, and the glasses all the way down the end of his nose almost falling off.
Yes.
That's what I picture his dad writing that. It'd be funny.
Yeah, so good.
So yeah, we move on from the U.S. Open and the Oakmont onto, I guess a more somber note, of course. We do, with the good comes the bad, and we unfortunately do have an obituary to read this week.
Let me pull out the violin.
Yep, pull up the violin. We are, unfortunately, tasked with telling you about the death of Tommy Fleetwood's sanity. 2010 to 2025. He came, he saw, he contended, he didn't win. Yes, my friends, it is with heavy hearts and frayed nerves that we announce the passing of Tommy Fleetwood's sanity, which finally gave up the ghost on June 22nd, 2025, somewhere near the 18th green at TPC River Highlands. It was last seen muttering, just one win, just one, before walking into the Connecticut woods, never to be heard from again. Now, Tommy Sanity had a good run, especially considering that it survived a decade of near misses, lip outs, and final round heartbreaks. A beloved companion to the Englishman since he turned pro in 2010, it began to show signs of wear after the 2018 US Open, where Tommy shot a final round 63 and still lost. It took another hit at the 2020 Honda Classic, where he found water on the 72nd hole while trying to chase down his first PGA Tour win, but it still held on barely. And this year in 2025 alone, Tommy's ranked up 4 top 10 finishes, a T4 at the Charles Schwab Challenge, T4 at the Truist, and he even finished T2 at the Travelers Championship, where he led by 3 strokes going into the final round, but alas, the golf gods, those cruel, khaki-clad deities, had other plans. A final round 72 saw him overtaken by Keegan Bradley, who birdied the 18th like a man possessed. Eyewitnesses say Tommy Sanity tried to hang on after the round, whispering things like, "It's just a matter of time," and "I'm trending in the right direction." But when the trophy was handed to someone else, again, it simply sighed, packed its bags, and died. Tommy Fleetwood remains a world-class golfer, a Ryder Cup hero, and a fan favorite with flowing locks that defy wind and logic. But his sanity, deceased. And unless he breaks through, it's not going to come back from the dead. In lieu of flowers, please send birdies, lots and lots of birdies. A moment of silence for Tommy Fleetwood's sanity. Yeah.
Thank you.
A bump on his line. Knocked his ball out of line. Oh,
I
feel for the guy.
I declare shenanigans on that. He put that thing inside the hole. The putt was outside the hole. He missed it. Forget that bump.
Yeah. That's fair. You could say it that way too, but just ouch, man. Ouch, because he had it the entire way and just kind of he's so good. He really is so good. And he's one of those guys where we keep saying it's a matter of when. He's going to do it, but man, it's so frustrating.
Oh, it is very frustrating, especially if you're a big Tommy Fleetwood fan. He's got the game. I don't know what it is. He can't win on the tour. He's a 7-time winner on the DP World Tour. Just won January in 2024, so it's been over a year. But he won the Dubai Invitational. He's 6-2 or 7-2. In the 2 European Ryder Cup victories. He's brought it when he's needed to. He just can't hit that last putt.
Yeah, he's so close yet so far away. He just I don't know. I'm with you. Like, I don't know what it is where he can't finish, because he really is always there in the conversation every week. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just world golf ranking 13. So he's good. He's obviously good, and he's been inside a top 20 for a long time. But I mean, he goes to live, he would dominate over there.
He might.
Man, look, I just feel bad for him. Like, I got nothing else to say.
No, and there isn't anything to say. I was trying to debate whether Fleetwood lost it. Did Keegan Bradley win it? And then I just had to look. Like, Keegan shot 2 under. That's not coming from behind, chasing someone down and overtaking. You know what I mean? That is just an average round of 68. There was plenty more better rounds than that out there. Tommy lost this. If we're gonna blame anyone, maybe CBS. They gave him the old commentator curse on Sunday, putting up a graphic that said since 1983 that Tommy Fleetwood has the most top 10 finishes on the PGA Tour with 41 without winning. So let's make that 42 now. But I don't know what to say, man. Just the 18th hole alone being played, like, you have a 1-shot lead. You can't play safe and allow Keegan to even make birdie. Like, even if he made par.
Yeah.
Like, Keegan hit that stiff. He's going to make that 5-footer for birdie. Probably 19 out of 20, if not 95 out of 100 times. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, he played it so safe on that approach shot into 18. And then he hit a really bad chip. And then he hit a really bad putt. And it's what happens from someone that just isn't confident in his ability to win, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what is getting to him. Like, he's just thinking, all right, I have to keep this. I have to keep this. And that does something like you said, you wind up playing way too conservatively. And if you have a big enough lead going to the final round, sure, you can be conservative, but you still have to be aggressive to some point when it's not that, when the guy's like chasing you behind you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he left the door open in the first place, and then he slammed it on his thumb. Like, it's what happens.
No,
it's
and the picture of him too, when he's like, you saw that where he's just looking at his arm, he can't watch the putt. I'm just like, oh man,
almost like he knew it was going to happen, right? Like,
oh yeah,
like he was ready just to pick up his ball and leave. Like, you got to finish out and get your second place and sign your scorecard, get your money. But like, yeah, it was an absolute heartbreak. The whole story was, is he finally going to do it? Is he finally going to do it? Unfortunately, that story is going to change from now on, and it's not going to be, is he going to? It's going to be, how is he going to mess it up this time?
Yeah, almost like a Rory in the major situation.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think that's a great comparison. Yeah, it was a long time. It was a big topic of conversation, to the point where people were just writing off Rory just because it was a major tournament, even if it was a good fit for him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I love me some Tommy Fleetwood, on my LAGC. For TGL, so I love me some Tommy. I do. No, I sincerely love Tommy. I always have, and it's not just because of the hair. And I have a thing for long-haired golfers because I'm one of those long-haired, shaggy-looking hippie golfer guys. No, I've always thought he was great. He's fun to watch. He's a good dude. Like, it just hurts.
Yeah,
like,
and
one day I want to say he won.
He took the high road too. He had a couple really great quotes after the round. He mentioned something like, obviously there's a lot of chat about him messing up. I would have loved to get it done today. The search goes on. When it happens, it is going to be very, very sweet. Sure, like in his mind, it's going to happen. He still thinks that. He said, I would love to just go and sit and sulk somewhere and maybe I will do it. But there's just no point in making it a negative, because the future is really just, you take the positives and move on. And,
yeah,
he's right. It's golf. You shot a 66, you shot a 65, you shot a 63, and you blew up in round 4 and you shot a 72. That's the difference. There's a lot of stories where guys play 3 good rounds every tournament and they just can't find a 4th one. And unfortunately, that seems to be Tommy right now on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, and if they want a support group, like, he can join the one that Rocco Mediate's part of, and they can all sit around and talk about how close they came. Now he's only 30. He's only 34 though. He's got plenty of time. He'll be fine.
He's got time.
Just, it's getting over that hump.
Yeah,
one day, and it's gonna be big. He's gonna, like, I don't know. He'll go out and win the Masters or something like that. Who knows? Like, it'll be. Although I guess it doesn't really count as a tour victory, though, does it?
I think you can count it as a tour victory.
You can count it? Okay.
I get it's independent.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it is what it is. He'll show up to T10 Anonymous and yeah, we'll go from there. I saw an absolutely bizarre shot, by the way, on the Sunday round, that Keegan Bradley hit on the second hole. He hit an approach shot into the second green. It came up well short of the pin that was kind of tucked on the left side of the green, and it spun backwards, and it found a ridge just off the green. So, like, there's a bunker, and how the lip's normally high, and it kind of trickles back to the green. It spun up the hill, and then rolled down the hill back towards the pin. So he put backspin on it, spun it backwards, and somehow still got closer to the hole and made birdie. It was absolutely wild. It was pretty cool.
It's awesome.
Like a forward backspinning shot.
I couldn't watch it much this weekend either because I was just, like, still recovering and catching up on work too. So that was a big thing of it. But yeah, Tommy will get it. I think that kind of closes the book on the Travelers. I mean, it does bring a question though, and a pretty good debate, since the Travelers was yet again another signature event. Do you think they're front-loading the calendar too much with signature events and all the majors happening? I mean, we basically just have, as far as majors and big tournaments go, we have the Open in a couple weeks, and then we have the Ryder Cup. But after that, aside from those two things, there's not much going on except for the playoffs.
Yeah. Maybe because it is a Ryder Cup year, they feel more condensed. But I think it makes it very easy just to tune out some of these weeks where you have, major, then you have one of these signature events, then you have a down week, and then you have a signature event, and then you have a down week, and then you have the major, and then you have a signature event. Like, I feel like you're really missing, like, even someone like me that will watch golf literally all day, every day. Like, they just don't feel important enough anymore. Like, every week, really just, I'll tune it out. It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, the PGA Championship is a perfect example. Like, it was, to me, it was there. Like, it didn't feel like a major. And again, that's a formatting problem with it. It's the way it's always been with the PGA Championship. It doesn't feel like Sawgrass feels more of a major than the PGA does. But I think if they move that one back a little bit later in the year, it might hold more gravity. But it's just front loading everything so much. A couple things just you have to skip a few things.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be seeing the Open in, is it 3 weeks, 4 weekends time? The PGA Championship's going to be at the end of August. And then you're going to have the Ryder Cup at the end of September. You're going to have basically a month in between golf events with any significance to them.
Right.
And that's for the casual viewer. Obviously, there's plenty to be gained over those months with, the tour players and gaining status and all that stuff. But just as a casual, like, yeah, what's the point? It kind of brings up, like, the live schedule, where we talk about they don't play as much as the tour guys do nowadays and, like, take 3 or 4 rounds out of it. But, like, it kind of feels the same to me where it's, oh, cool, there's a live event on this week and there's 10 of them. You know what I mean? It kind of feels that way, too, in comparison.
Yeah, so and it's good you bring up the casual watcher too, because a lot of the casual people don't really care about the FedEx Cup playoffs. Like, they don't, and I don't blame them. It's not like some big glory hoop-da-da thing that goes on. I mean, yes, they crown a season championship, but I think more casual people care more about the majors than anything else. So why not kind of space them out a little bit more to get more viewers in?
Oh, totally. I mean, I bet if you brought it up that, this weekend that just passed was the Women's PGA Championship. Most people probably didn't know that. The Travelers had an exciting finish to it. It was a signature event, and that's where all the eyes went. And it's unfortunate to the women's golf game because, this event deserved attention, too, for them. We talked about the Augusta Amateur. We talked about, their other tournaments throughout the year. And this is just, kind of pushed to the side. And that's how I kind of feel about these upcoming events, too. It's just going to kind of get pushed to the side and, ho-hum.
Yeah, no, exactly. And next thing you know, we'll be around the TGL season, too. So
yeah, and that's where my eyes are going to be.
Yeah, but no, you bring up the women's and also with the seniors, too. Like, it's a scheduling thing where they could maybe shift around the PGA majors and the signature events and put the women's and seniors majors in during the ho-hum not as important tournament weeks. Like, that's something that the PGA should look into doing as a way to spread things out and get eyes on everybody, not just the men.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's not even close to where I'm at, but the Travelers is really the only, like, Northeast event of all these, summertime events. Like, we don't get to see golf out this way hardly ever. We got to see it, tournament in Philly just because Quail Hollow was hosting a major this year. That's the only reason why a tournament came up this way. So even just the scheduling alone, like, I would love to see some of these important tournaments up here.
Right. It would make sense in the summer to have more tournaments in the Northeast and the North area of the country just because the temperatures. You're not going to have, like, a tournament in Florida in August. No way.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible.
I mean,
I played golf down there in August. It's awful, man.
Yeah. I was reminiscing the other day about a trip we took to Orlando in August, and it was just like,
yeah,
cool. 1 a.m, 100 degrees, 100% humidity. Like, cool.
Yeah, you just want to quit on the 9th and jump in the hotel pool. Like, you're done.
Right, but I feel like front-loading all these kind of rules out this part of the world, because if you're going to be putting all these major tournaments early in the season, yeah, I mean, we're not going to get, the grass growing in as well. The conditions aren't going to be up to standard, as well as the warmer climates are going to be. But you're right, like end of August or early August, end of July, June. This part of the year is perfect for some of these courses. I don't know. I just wish we got a little love too while we're talking about condensing all the tournaments.
Yeah. No, and the Northeast is gorgeous in the fall with all the leaves changing and everything. Like, it is a beautiful showpiece that not a lot of other places have. So it could be it'll be a bit cooler, but it'll be like a crisp fall day out there playing golf. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. There needs to be more tournaments up in the Northeast if you're going to try to expand the game and viewership up that way. But I don't know. I just don't think the PGA has any interest, and I think we're going to see that stacked schedule in the spring and early summer forever. Like they don't have any incentive to really change it.
Yeah, I mean, I think in their mind it's what's working, and keep going for it, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, though, I've paid a lot of attention to the golf recently. It's just gonna be the downturn now.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go back to Oakmont a little bit, and because we were talking about it a little bit earlier today over text and we were talking about what makes a golf course maybe fair, maybe too hard, and Kev, you had a couple thoughts on that.
Yeah, I've got a couple things on it. I actually saw a really cool article. It was dated 2010, so it is out of date. But he tied in what makes a fair golf course, or not a fair golf course, but a true test of a golf course. Because that's what was really being preached about the U.S. Open. Like, let's make it hard. We want to find the best golfers. And the term true test comes up a lot in golf. So he wrote, let me get the actual name. I found it on usgtf.com, which is the United States Golf Teachers Federation, by a gentleman named Mark Harmon. But he mentioned that Augusta, again, this is 2010, and it's gone through a lot of changes, and I'm 99.9% sure that the holes aren't this way right now. But like we say that Augusta is one of the best golf courses. Anybody will say that. Augusta is the number one. You could have one course to play. Augusta is the one everybody's chiming in on. And he said in an argument about a true test of golf, he says the front nine at Augusta, from the championship tees, 4 par 4s on the front nine. They played 455, 455, 450, and 460, as well as both par 5s playing 570 yards and 575 yards.
Whew.
Yeah, so he's talking about what's a true test of a golf course. And just by seeing those numbers, you're talking about variety. And his argument is a true test of golf a course where you'll hit 10 6-irons into the green?
Huh. 10 6-irons into the green. No, I don't think so. Like, to me, a true test of golf is you need to use every club in your bag at one point or the other. And the situation has to call for it, and you have to think and plot that stuff out. I think that's the true test. Because, sure, I've played plenty of courses where, you hit it 250 yards off the green. All right, then I have a 9-iron in. 250 yards off the tee, 9-iron in. And that's just the game. And I do fine, but I don't feel tested. The courses I feel the most tested at are the ones where there are several different ways to play a hole. And you play it differently depending on if you miss to the right or if you miss to the left or if you hit it short, if you hit it long. I really think you need to be using every club in your bag on a course for it to be considered a true test.
Yes, exactly. And that's one of the biggest points of this article is that there's a lot of these golf courses, especially in the modern age of golf courses, where you do have very similar holes. And maybe the difference between hole 1 and hole 2 are, maybe the bunkers on the left instead of the right. So it punishes one player for hitting it on the left on this hole, and, it's forgiving to the other person on the next hole. But in the long run, you're still having that same shot in.
Right.
So it brings a mention up, again, going back to Oakmont, of like a 300-yard par 3. And granted, 300 yards is a long shot. Nobody wants to play that, especially a regular average Joe golfer. Nobody wants to play that hole.
Yeah.
But I looked at data from Oakmont in 2016. The 8th hole, which was playing at 290 yards that week, was the 8th hardest hole in the course. The 7 in front of them were the par 4s. So is distance really that much of a difference for these guys when you're talking about 300 yards as compared to 250 yards? I mean, I thought it was...
For them, no.
No, and I thought it was pretty cool seeing guys have
all.
to hit like a driver on a par 3. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. For us mere mortals, I mean, there's a course I used to play down in Florida where they had... It went a 3, and then, I don't know, I think it was like a 4, and then another 3. But those 2-3 holes were over 200-yard par 3s. And you would wind up having a 6-hour round because of those 2 holes there. Because everybody's trying to go for it and play it as a par 3 when most guys don't have that in their bag.
Yes. No, I completely agree. And then this article goes into saying that depending on the course length, you're going to have different approach shot lengths. So you might have 100 yards in on this hole. You might have 200 yards in on the next hole. And he's saying that a good sign of a good test of golf in architecture standpoints is that you'll have a bigger green for a longer approach shot. If it's designed to have a long approach shot, it should be designed to have a bigger green. So you're going to have a bigger target for a harder shot, and those easier approaches, you're going to have a smaller target. And I think that's a great little point as far as like what makes something fair. We talked earlier just now about Oakmont's greens being 40 yards wide. That 300-yard hole, it's a 45-yard wide green or long green. You know, there's room for you to run it up. You could hit a 220-yard shot and have that go 270 on that hole, 290 all the way to the pin. And to me, this is where I'm coming with Oakmont. Is it fair or was it not fair? Like, was it too hard? Was it too tricked up or wasn't it? And I would make the argument that Oakmont was a perfectly fair test of golf, and that the conditions were fair. It was unfortunate the rain came in. We saw some really wet lies and some silly rules decisions, but like, I thought that Oakmont played perfectly fair for these professional golfers.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Because if you look at what all the analysts said beforehand, they're like, "Oh, it's the toughest test in golf," and the what's it called? The rough's going to be 5-7 inches tall, and the stim meter is going to be insane. First of all, the stim meter doesn't matter to these guys. You know, they can play on anything. The rough, same thing. You can hack it through, but I think it brought out the best in everybody. So I would agree. It was a pretty fair test for these guys at that level. Now, it would have killed you or me. You know, we would have been done for. But at an elite level, I think it was a great test. And it wasn't just guys hitting, like comparing it to baseball, it wasn't just guys hitting home run after home run, and that's all they do. You know, it was guys having to strategically plot out how to play the course. And, all right, I missed here. I have about 10 options. Which one is going to be the best that I work into? Whereas some other tournaments are like, all right, I missed off to the right, whatever. I only got 2 ways to play this, and they're both not very penalizing. And Oakmont was penalizing enough, but not too penalizing.
Yeah, and the biggest part of this is that we're rewarding the good shots, and we're punishing the bad shots. And, for U.S. Open, the shots that are bad should be penalized. And in some cases, it was, a stroke and a half getting it out of the rough. And, you deserve it. You hit it in the rough in the U.S. Open. It's not like, the fairway was cantered one way, so it runs into the rough on purpose. Like, I didn't see any of, like, unfair or, we used to say with, the golf club, the video game, we used to call them TGC courses, where things are just meant to make you miss shots on purpose. And I don't think there was one shot where I watched over the weekend that said, wow, that's kind of unfair that they put the pin there, or that's unfair that they made the fairway that narrow there. I just think when you try to hit it 350 yards off the tee, you're going to miss the fairway. And that's what happened, and it really punished people this week.
Yeah, and it's good to see, like, things being punishing, because we've seen the trend in the last couple of years where guys are intentionally aiming for the bunkers just to be able to stop their ball and give them an easier shot up onto the green. Bunkers should be penalizing. Like, end of story. You should not be aiming for a bunker. You should go in the bunker accidentally. That's your miss. you're in trouble, not I'm doing this on purpose to make my game better.
Yeah, I can't agree any more about that. The greens were accessible. There was spots where you could hit them to the left side of the green and play a slope to the right side of the green. If you wanted to play it creatively, if you wanted to play it not safe, but there were holes to score on. In 2016, 4 holes played under par at the U.S. Open at Oakmont. That's 4 holes every round that you can go 4 under on those holes if you play them correctly. I think that's perfectly fair. And this article argued that the perfect test of a golf course might be 6 easy holes. It might be 6 hard holes and 6, average holes where you can make 5, you can make 3. I think that would be an interesting kind of mentality for some of these courses nowadays. That instead of making them just pretty, like let's make them and kind of put kind of a perspective on like a true test of golf first, and then work around that.
So to you then, a mere mortal, what do you consider your true test?
I think variety is really what makes a golf course truly a test. We played a course last weekend. It's called Frog Hollow. It's down in Middletown, Delaware, which I've always liked. I think the design is really cool. Almost every hole, for the most part, is different. It's got different bunkering in the fairways. It's got dog legs left. It's got dog legs right. It's got longer par 4s. It's got short drivable par 4s. It's fun to play, in my opinion. And I think that's what boils down to it in the long run. Do I leave saying, man, I had fun playing this course? Because I can admit that I have fun even when I play bad. So that's the true test to me, is if I'm walking off saying it was fun, it's probably because I hit almost every single club in my golf bag. There's probably some kind of element to the course that I look at. In Frog Hollow's case, the greens are crazy. They're super hilly, and they were running really quick. So they made for a good test on the greens too. Like I left on Saturday saying, I didn't play my best golf. I didn't play my worst golf, but I did have fun today. And my scorecard showed that.
Yeah, that's the important thing. Now, I might be a little controversial here, but it's because I lived in Florida for a number of years. And again, we have a couple up here in Williamsburg too, resort courses. Like they're designed to play a lot easier because it's just guys on vacation, out of a hotel, maybe playing with your kids, getting out there, and just they're not designed to really kick your ass. So how do you feel about like the resort course? Do you think they're too easy? Do you like them? Do you think they have a place in the world of golf, or should everything kind of be? Do you want everything to kind of be testing you?
No, I think there's always a reason to have a course be fun, and to a lot of people, unfortunately, fun is like playable. Fun is they're going to go around and they might break 100. I don't think everybody shares the same eye for a golf course as maybe I do, where I can see a little things. Like I got in an argument with a friend actually while we were playing. Not really an argument, but a debate. I think we were through like 8 holes, and he said something along the lines of like, I don't think anything really stands out on this golf course. Like it's just an average golf course to me. And I mentioned like I completely disagree with you because every hole we've played so far is something different. Like we're on a par 3, the 8th hole. It's not an island per se, but there's water all around it. I think it was like 170 par 3 on that hole, and the par 3 before it was 130. And it was littered with bunkers and no run up or anything. Like just completely different hole. And I don't think he noticed it at the time. But after we finished, he actually mentioned, like, I kind of take back what I said. There were different holes out here, and it was a pretty fun course.
Yeah.
So I think, like, it's kind of... I see things, and I'm interested in the design aspects of a golf course more so than what I'm shooting sometimes. So maybe it's a different eye for it. But I do feel like a resort course has its place in the world. Definitely, of course. But yeah, like I find the older courses actually, things from 1900s earlier, to be some of the more fun courses. We talked about Gallon Hall.
The older courses are great.
We talked about Gallon Hall in the podcast. Like that course I would have never gone to. You know, it's kind of out of the way, and it's, you know, kind of like a rinky-dink course when you look at it. But once you actually get out on the course, you realize, like, man, that's actually really well laid out for what it is. But yeah, the one thing I will say about resort courses, and you brought up Florida, a lot of them down in Florida, for some reason you need water on every single hole on a resort course.
Yeah, it's Florida.
Yeah.
Gators.
Yeah, sure. Let's put gators on the course. I swear we played oh shoot, what was it? I don't remember.
The Marriott course?
Yes, it was the Marriott course. And I think 13 of the 18 holes, like, had water down the left, down the right of the fairway. It had water around the greens, and I think you might even, like, cross a bridge to get to the tee box on every hole.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, I mean, it was all Central Florida was all built on a swamp, so you got to put the water somewhere.
No, I understand.
But no, I and that brings up a point too with, I guess, in course design, where I don't want to see the same exact elements on every single hole. I mean, obviously you're going to have bunkers on most holes, of course, but to your point, water on every single hole, like, it gets old after a while, and eventually you wind up losing so many balls. You're like, man, this is frustrating. I'm done.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of too like a resort course. Like, they're often very slow rounds.
Yeah.
You know, you got all day on vacation. You might as well spend 7 of them on a golf course.
Right, and I think that's kind of by design too, where it's just like cart girls out there, you know, buy the beer, buy the hot dogs, have lunch at the turn, but I agree. Like, resort courses, and they are fun. They can get kind of repetitive a bit, but again, you got to think about it. And I try to think about it as a guy on vacation and not like a resident of Florida, where if I was on vacation, yeah, this would be like a light game of golf, a lot of fun, really easy. There's thousands of courses in Florida I can go to and get my ass kicked. Like, Palatka is one of them. Great course. Whoop my ass up one side and down on the other. I think Donald Ross is the devil. But, you know, but if I want just like an easy round where it's kind of a chill, relaxing day, I'm going to go to one of these resort courses, but I also have to realize in my head it's not going to be a test, because I am just going to hit it 250 yards and then have my 8 or 9 iron into the green. And that's just what it's going to be over and over and over. So it's not a test, but a test can be fun, but you can also just have fun without like the big test.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. You know, first and foremost, for me, I'm out to play golf. I don't care if it's like I mentioned, like a true test of golf or not. I mean, if I'm going to go out there, hit driver wedge on every hole, I'm going to go out there, hit driver wedge on every hole. And that's fine for me. I'm out just to go and play. But yeah, like, if I'm booking a vacation, that's not the kind of course that I'm looking to book around. So maybe that's where this lies, is more, I mean, for the most part, we don't get to choose what we play every day. It's kind of where you're located.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I drive an hour and a half, you know, not on average, but, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'll drive that, you know, on a Saturday if there's a cool course or something that I want to go explore. And, you know, that's not a big deal. But, like, when it comes to booking a course, like, you know, when we're going to Tobacco Road, like, I'm going to go out of my way to play Tobacco Road and make a trip around it. But when when I'm down there, I'm probably not going to be looking for, you know, my local Muni course. You know, I'm going to want to find something different and something that kind of showcases more of the local golf scene than that. So maybe that's
Get to
more
the
of
cradle.
the definition. Yeah, well, I mean, knock on wood, I would love to.
I hope. I hope.
Yeah, but maybe that's more the criteria is, like, if I'm going across country, what kind of course do I want to play? You know? So yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that you'd want to play something unique if you're going on a trip somewhere, and not something you play like 1,000 times. And that's kind of to our synergy with our partnership too. If you're looking to come up to Williamsburg on a golf trip, or just to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the nation coming up soon, go to visitwilliamsburg.com and you can get information on all the great golf courses and everything else we have to offer in the area. So there's our corporate synergy there if you're looking for a road trip.
Look at that. Like a professional.
No, it's really cool, man. They're helping us out, and you know they've been giving us some good advice. So I'd love to shout the Visit Williamsburg guys out. But yeah, I think it was a good conversation about that, a true test of golf, and we'd love to hear your guys' comments on what you all think is a true test of golf as well, because as we said, it's going to be different for each person. Some people may say a true test is keeping my driver consistent, and like me and Kevin said, a true test is being able to use every club in your bag. So that's going to be different for everybody. There's not a wrong answer, and there's not a right answer. So that's kind of the fun of it. And I think one of these days, too, we should have a debate on what elements go into a golf course that we think are fun, what's just kind of like BS, kind of, like plopping a tree in the middle of a fairway just for plopping a tree in the middle of a fairway's sake. That'll be a fun discussion someday. But, yeah, I like to... I can play either one, and I think the big point is you're getting out and playing and just having fun, and some days you want that test, and some days you just want to relax and have a nice day outside.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's kind of the beauty of golf in general. Look at the pros. Not every pro is built the same, and not every pro wins the same way. It's kind of... I've always given Bryson a lot of flack about this. Like, to me, golf is an art. It's not a science. And I think, everybody has their flavor of it. Not everybody likes, chocolate ice cream. They might want the vanilla or the strawberry or Rocky Road or whatever you want to go for. Like, there's so many different elements in this game, that keeps it from getting so repetitive and boring. And I think that's what I love about it.
Now, again, to compare to baseball, some people like constant home runs. Some people want to see 10 home runs a game. Some people want to see like good fundamentals, like bunting and stealing bases and things like that. Some guys want to see good pitching. None of it's wrong. It's just what you like.
Yeah, no, exactly. But yeah, I think with golf we see more variety and just different ways of doing things. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the game. So yeah, that's again, we'd love to hear what you guys think about what's a true test of golf. And yeah, I think that's going to bring it to an end for the day. Look at that. We were thinking about having a shorter show just because my voice is pretty much dead and not much going on, but we wound up going for an hour. So nice stuff. I mean, that is a good debate. What do you guys think is the test of golf? But yeah, thank you all as usual for tuning in to us. We love your support. We'd love to hear your comments. And don't forget, as always, to like, comment, and subscribe to us. We are on every single platform. Well, not every single one, but just about every platform you can get a podcast from. We also have our social media pages at Tending Flag, where you can see some of our golf videos. Last week we put one out that was me playing Ford's Colony, a couple holes there, and that was a lot of fun, and we got a lot of support from Visit Williamsburg on that. So love it if you guys check that out. We had a couple people even comment and say, hey, I'm playing this course this week or coming up, and it was great to see this video and you playing it, so I know what to expect. So it's a lot of fun, and we're going to have some good stuff coming up. Kev, I don't know if you got what you have coming up, if you got that other trick shot video you're working on yet, or
yeah, that'll be coming. That'll be coming your way. Hopefully this weekend.
Oh boy, okay.
We started making kind of shorts over the U.S. Open weekend. I was super busy on the weekend. I had a goal of doing one after every round, but I made it Thursday. I made it Friday, and unfortunately, just time constraints, Saturday and Sunday didn't work out.
To be fair, I would have, if you had told me that, I would have made it from the Warped Tour, but it would have been me trying to talk while skank dancing.
I mean, so. I could have mounted a GoPro on my bike or something and read out some scores.
Dude, I got to going on the side to Warped Tour because everybody's like, in their mid 30s and 40s now that was in that original Warped Tour scene. And to see everybody my age like trying to skank dance and keep up like we used to when we were young. Oh my God, it was so funny. It was great. Like, God bless us, we tried. But you know what? I will say the young generation of punk and pop punk and ska, we're in good hands with the younger generation because they were keeping up and having a blast like us. So, stay emo, stay punk, stay cool.
There you go. What a way to leave it off right there.
So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and as Kevin said, we'll have some more content on the socials for you coming soon at Tending Flag, and we will see you guys next time we see you. Yeah. Cheers.
Thank you.